Hey everyone, this is Faja, and I'm back again today with another tutorial breakdown on how to make kind of speed house vibes. A lot of people are requesting for another video. This track isn't really fully speed house; it's a little bit of like hard groove, hard house kind of hybrid vibes, but all kind of similar. So we're gonna do a quick walkthrough on my remix of Gongshi Fasai that I did by the Higher Brothers. Dropped it kind of recently. So let's just kind of break down all the elements. I'll take it pretty slowly this one so we can really get into the details of it. So yeah, let's get into it. So we're going to start with the drums since that's pretty much the most important part of any track. Very simple, easy, punchy kick. My processing for it, as usual, I always do kick tweak at the start. I've been putting that on all my kicks for anything I ever make. I put a little bit of transient shaper. This is a free plugin by Kilohertz, which is really solid. And yeah, just kind of adds some transient to it, makes it a little punchier. And something new that I've been doing more recently on my kind of speed house tracks is actually clipping the kicks. So I use initial clipper and I just adjust the gain going into the into the clipper. And then I add a bit of saturation on the positive and negative side here. And it adds just a very kind of cool, nice texture. So here, it just gives it that extra like oomph. And yeah, it sounds great. I do that on all my kicks now. A little bit of EQ, I just kind of wanted a bit of more top end kind of click and punch to it. And then LFO tool just to shape the tail off of it so it doesn't bleed into my bass. And then I got one clap actually. So lately I've been trying to simplify my drums and tracks in general. So I literally will only use just one clap. It's a nice clap. I love it. Nothing crazy. A little bit of OTT, a little bit of EQ. Yeah, and then I layered some percussive loops here. So this one's actually, it sounds weird because being side, like I used LFO tool because I just wanted the swing part of the hat, and then I layered it with this. So together it has this kind of swinging, kind of fast feel to it that I liked. And then I also layered in just a hat right in the center. Nothing crazy. I mean, you're gonna see on pretty much all my percussion, I just like do like a little bit of OTT to taste. Sometimes a transient shaper. So on the hat, I really want it to punch through the mix, like cut through a little bit. So transients, and then boosts with the highs on SciQ. SciQ is really dope for just adding nice highs, really. And then a little bit of EQ. And I did not put on linear phase. You should be doing that if you're going to do steep cuts like this. That with zero latency can cause some phasing issues. So that is my bad. And then yeah, soothe just a little bit. Then we're gonna go to the bass. So let's hear that bass. All right, I don't even remember what I did here. So okay, so yeah, so here's the main layer, and that's the sub. So the main layer is nothing crazy. I actually use Sound Goodizer because honestly, Sound Goodizer works sometimes. Sometimes you just put a preset on it, it actually works. So don't hate on Sound Goodizer. And then OTT, you'll see that I often do like 27 to 33%. Just that like amount for some reason is perfect for me. I don't know why. Sometimes on a vocal I might slap a whole bunch on if I want to like make it sound kind of crazy, but yeah. I use SciQ again to boost the highs because I wanted that little nice crispiness on it. Then we got some EQ just to carve out the low end to make room for the saturated sub layer, which I'm going to show. And then side widener to just, widen it a little bit. It's great for widening your basses without adding any phasing issues. Then the sub. Super simple. The patch for the sub was good to start. So it's good if you find a nice patch for subs instead of trying to make like a shitty one sound good. So it sounded good already, and then I just added like a little bit of OTT, a bit of SciQ boosting. Wait, why is SciQ boosting the highs? Shouldn't even be doing that because there are no highs on this. That's a mistake. Fab filter to carve out the highs, and then here I have a sub filter. So I am boosting the root note of the key. So you go to the key to frequency chart. I talk about this a lot. You look at it and then you boost accordingly to what key it's playing in. So I think I boosted whatever D would be. Whatever D would be. 37 hertz, I think it was. All right. So we will look at some of these extra FX elements, and maybe I'll kind of talk about here why I did some of the things I did here. So let's check this build out. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is I am slowly automating in my kick. I've been liking that for my builds lately. It's just my style, but you don't need to do that. Snare build, I have like go-to snare builds that I use. Honestly, I think it's good to find like go-to loops and samples like for FX and fills and stuff that you like to use, and also reuse them, because that's it saves time in your workflow, and these are little details that you know, reusing these things helps build your own sound. And yeah, having the quickness of the workflow to be like, oh yeah, these are the sounds that I like using, will improve the overall ideas of your track, because you're not going to get so like locked in focusing on like, oh, what snare I'm going to use for this snare build. You know, you'll just have this snare build already that you love to use, and you know that you can focus on the actual idea of it. All right, then we got just a few FX, like little things to kind of crash it down into the build, and then just like a simple riser. So I like using like very clean risers like that, where it's just kind of like a saw with some reverb and stuff, because what I often do is I throw Endless Smile on various elements of my songs, and so I want to make room to focus on that. So like you'll hear this vocal is being turned into a riser. Yeah, so I kind of make room by not adding too many extra riser samples, and make room for turning these main elements into actual risers. So yeah, that's how I like to do my builds. Obviously, everyone's gonna have their own way, but that's what I'm doing here. With a lot of like speed housey type stuff, and in just general, I think commercial club music, it's best to try and keep everything simple, very easy to understand, very easy to dance to. Don't overcomplicate it. So that's kind of the philosophy of why I do it like this. Maybe I can show here just the drop, how I mix the vocals, because there's vocals playing on here. So let's check that. So I have a lot of tracks where like I have vocals over the drop with a main bass, and I actually always sidechain it a little bit to the kick, and it's not actually really to make room for the kick or anything. It's actually being done to give the vocal a bounce. I want it to flow with the rest of the track, because the bass and the kick, like everything's bouncing together, and it feels like the vocal needs to feel like that as well. It's like almost like having a lead on the track. So I always sidechain the vocals just a little bit when I'm doing these vocal based drops in like speed house, hard dance, whatever it might be. I also got these stabs. They're actually a big part of this kind of new groove style that I'm doing. It's like a hybrid of hard groove and other stuff. And hard groove always has these stabs. So yeah, I'm pretty much just sidechaining it to the kick. I don't want the transient to fight with the transient of the kick, so it's, you know, just being scooped a bit. I just kind of EQ'd it to taste, to make room for the vocals. I carved out right in the middle here, I think, for the hats and the claps a little bit, so they're not competing. And then yeah, I just do like pretty much the same level OTT, and then yeah, a little bit of transient shaper as usual, and side widener, and soothe. Always a little bit. Well, not always. Sometimes it can destroy your sounds, but here it works. So, all right. What else can we dive into? Got these ARPs. So this one I'm actually going to show, because I want to bring up an important part, that this was like an additional harmony ARP. You know, it's like it's like in the background, it's brought in for variation pretty much so the track's evolving. So because there's the vocal playing, there's a bunch of stuff. I did not want it to interfere too much with what's going on. So what I did in FabFilter is I carve out the mono signal. So it just like scoops out the center area so that it's more of like a background element. And I think that's, if you're going to have numerous elements stacked on each other like this, then you typically want to kind of carve things out in the stereo field using FabFilter so that it's not competing. The rest of the processing isn't complicated. Again, it's like just OTT and stuff like that. The main thing that I think you guys should take from this is that you need to just pick good sounds that harmonize well together, that work well together, and then also just do simple processing, because a lot of the times if you're doing too much, it's probably the wrong sound. So use good sounds that work together and then just EQ it properly and manage the levels properly. I can't remember which engineer said this, but it was one famous engineer, but he said that he could outmix most producers by only using the channel faders, because that's how important levels are. So, don't worry too much about doing crazy processing. Obviously, if you can add cool processing, that's great. And if you can really make it shine, then that's great. But the biggest thing is choosing good sounds and balancing levels and EQ, really. So I think that's pretty much it for the track. So if you guys have any questions about anything, or maybe anything you want me to cover, a new song I could cover, or more details, whatever it is, just let me know in the comments, and be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next tutorial.